Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's me, Crazyfrankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my Week 7 4 key game picks. Before we talk about Week number 7, I don't going to get into too much detail on what happened in Week number 6, but it was a tad interesting week of NFL football. It was, and obviously the game of the week was definitely the Bills-Titans game. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of NFL fans did question on that Bills' last drive, the final drive of that series, whether or not they should have just went for the game-tying field goal. Instead, the Bills went for it on fourth down, hoping to get the first down, and obviously the Titans' defense really stopped Josh Allen at the end. In all honesty, I'm not going to blame the Bills for that play call because there was a lot of trust in the coach, and obviously he said he trusted his players, and in fact, that the Bills in their previous games have managed to done very well on fourth down conversions. But obviously in this case, though, it wasn't exactly to be. I mean, give the Titans defense a ton of credit in putting a stop to the Bills in the end. And the Bills, in all honesty, yeah, all logic says they should have gone for the game-tying field goal, and they didn't. Should have took the game in overtime. But a lot of NFL teams are having some guts. They're having some cojones to try to, win the game in regulation. Where the overtime rules, the way the overtime rules is in the NFL, it's maddening, and the way it's played out, it takes a lot longer to win the football game, or let alone more likely you end in a tie, the way the rules are. So I didn't blame the Bills, and I don't blame any other NFL team who tries to win a football game in regulation rather than just going for the tie and try to win it and win it in OT. The Jaguars finally picked up a win. Obviously, it had to do it in London, and obviously for Urban Meyer, it is some monkey off his back, but obviously his off-the-field antics are still a distraction to the team, and it's still going to be problems beyond the franchise's control, and I don't know what Khan is going to do, whether if he's going to want to keep Meyer around, or will it be time to finally let him go? Tough to say what happens with the Jaguars and what happens to them next. Some injuries were apparent in week number 6. Obviously, a big one was Baker Mayfield in his shoulder. He's not going to play on Thursday night, and that's going to be huge for the Browns because now, without their starting quarterback, their tandem of Hunt and Chubb, now they have to go to reserves in order to fill that running game, and it's going to be very difficult for the Browns to really, really develop their identity now that they have to go to Case Keenum in that game against Denver on Thursday night, and that is actually one of the key games I'm going to talk about in a few minutes here. When I look at the way the rest of the weekend played out for most NFL teams, I mean, right now I look at the Baltimore Ravens. They really destroyed the Chargers last Sunday, and I saw the majority of that game. Yeah, as a Chargers fan, it was kind of expected. I kind of expected it was going to be something like that. So hopefully, let's see if the Chargers can rebound after their bye week. They got the Patriots coming up in week number 8 after they get off their bye. But for the Ravens, they got a tough task ahead. They got a surging Cincinnati Bengals team, and that is also going to be a game I'm going to talk about in my 4 key game picks in just a few minutes. So it's really tough to say right now which NFL teams right now seem to be the strongest going into week number 7. The Ravens are making a case. The Titans are making a case. Obviously, the Green Bay Packers look to be now the team to beat in the NFC. The Buccaneers against the Eagles last week, it wasn't all that impressive. So it's really tough to say which NFL team is going to be now the heavy favorite moving forward. I mean, we're almost near the halfway point of the regular season, and it's still unclear which NFL teams look to be the Super Bowl favorites right now. But we'll just have to wait and see as the season keeps on progressing here, and now as we head into week number 7. So let's talk about that, shall we? All right, let's begin with key game number 1. As I mentioned earlier in my very, very vague recap of week number 7. I mean, week number 6, I should say, going into week 7. Let's talk about let's talk about the Broncos and the Browns. Now, last week the Denver Broncos against the Raiders, it was a total disaster for them last week. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater, 35 of 49, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. And there's huge question marks right now for the Broncos if Teddy Bridgewater is going to continue being the quarterback or if the Broncos will have to start going to their backups. Now, the Browns got dismantled by the Cardinals. The Cardinals still undefeated. I mean, you look at the point that Baker Mayfield, he got injured in that game last week. I mean, you look at Case Keenum's stats. He didn't appear much in the game. I mean, he was only 1 for 3 for 6 yards, no touchdowns and no interceptions. And now that he's going to be the starting quarterback, it's going to bring up huge questions of where this Cleveland Browns offense stands. Now, both teams are 3-3 in their respective divisions. And this is really a key game because one of these teams could be out of it within their division. And so this game is very important for both these two teams just to keep pace within their respective divisions. The Browns are a 2-point favorite in this one here, and that number is sure to go down to 1, and it wouldn't shock me at all if it goes into pick'em status. I look at it this way. Let's see how the Browns offense does against the Denver Broncos here, because this is a totally different offense when you have reserves as running backs and you have to go with Case Keenum at quarterback. Denver, on the other hand, their defense really isn't all that good. And offense-wise, I don't know how much Teddy Bridgewater will be able to be the starting quarterback for them. I look at it this way. This is really a you pick 'em status, in my honest opinion here. And this game is a huge toss-up. And I really don't know who's going to win this game here. But obviously, it's important for both these two teams to keep within their respective divisions to stay pace. Otherwise, they will go under 500, and it could hurt them in the long term. But I got to make a pick here. I'm actually going to go with the Cleveland Browns here. I think, to me, they're slightly better than the Broncos, but like I said, this is a toss-up game. It's really hard to say who wins this one here. So I'm going to pick the Browns here. This is not a sure pick here. Let's just see if the Browns offense can be more better intact than Denver's offense. So I'm going to pick the Browns here. Browns over the Broncos. Key game number 2, another big one here. It is the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Tennessee Titans. A big game for the Chiefs here. They're also trying to stay pace in the AFC West as the Broncos are. Now, the Chiefs are 5.5-point favorites, surprisingly, but with the way they've been playing their last 5 games, I mean, this is really tough to say what the odds makers are trying to make a case that the Chiefs are a slight favorite in this one here, when really the Titans look like a much better team. Now, Mahomes went 32 of 47, 397 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Now, Tannehill, 18 of 29, 216 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 interception. Obviously, Henry was really the key for the Titans to win last week against the Bills. And that's one of the keys that the Titans have. Just keep on giving Henry the ball, unleashing that running game, because really the Chiefs' defense against the run they're as bad as the Chargers' defense is on the run. So really, this is going to be a case right here where let's see if the Chiefs can stop Henry. But you just can't count out Patrick Mahomes and that offense. Let's see if the Titans' defense can really put pressure on Mahomes and to see if they can stop him from running out of the pocket. I don't know how the odds makers have the Chiefs as a favorite, but that number should be much more lower with the way the Chiefs have been playing. They don't look like the same team as they were in the last 2 seasons. And Tennessee's trying to make their case in that AFC South that they're the strongest team in that division, and it looks like they will run away with that no matter what happens with the Colts, Jaguars, and all that. So it's a tough pick here on who wins this game here, but I'm actually going to go with the Chiefs here. I think the Chiefs in another bounce-back game, even though they did beat the Washington team last week, I think this will be another bounce-back game for them. I think, to me, the Titans are going to have to, Titans defense are going to have to, I think they're going to end up getting into a shootout here with the Chiefs here. And it's going to be a back and forth game. It could be a good one here. Could be the game of the weekend. I don't know. But it's going to be interesting to see what the Titans defense does against Patrick Mahomes if he gets out of the pocket. And that is one of the reasons why I'm going to go with the Chiefs. But it's going to be I could see this could be a high-scoring game here. So, yeah, I could see the Titans are going to get into a shootout here again with the Chiefs. But I'll pick the Chiefs here. I think the Chiefs are in a must-win situation here, and is to try to catch the Chargers in that AFC West. And the way I look at it right now, I can see them beating the Titans in a very, very close game. It will go back and forth. I'm going to pick the Chiefs here. This is not a sure pick here, but I'm going to go with the Chiefs in this one here. Chiefs over the Titans. Key game number 3, the New Orleans Saints versus the Seattle Seahawks. Another must-win game for the Seahawks, as right now their record shows right now they're 2-4, and right now they are pretty much in danger of falling out of contention in an NFC West. Now, the Saints were on their bye last week, and this is Winston's stats from week number 5. He went 15 of 30, 279 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Now, Geno Smith, as the time of this video, as far as I know, he will still be the starting quarterback for this game here. He went 23 of 32, 209 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interceptions. But obviously, the Steelers ended up beating them in the end. And obviously, there was some controversy in that game as well. But other than that, when you look at this football team here, I think this is definitely another back-and-forth game right here. But obviously, this is a game that the Seahawks have to have in order to stay in contention, or at least try to, make something within the division of the NFC West, because the NFC West is a very tough division right now, and I don't know if they're going to be able to keep pace with the Rams and the Cardinals. I would say that for the Seahawks here, their defense really, really has to play good. They have got to find a way to get to Jameis Winston and prevent any points from that from the Saints offense here. But when I look at this game here, it's just going to get more tougher for the Seahawks here. I just think the Saints are a little bit better than they are, and obviously the Seahawks defense is terrible. That's one of the reasons why they have 4 losses on their record, is really because of their defense here. Offense-wise, ever since Russell Wilson went down, their offense has been terrible. So, yeah, this one here, the Saints are a 4.5-point favorite in this one here, and I agree with that, and I'm picking the Saints here. The Saints will definitely win this game. It wouldn't surprise me if this ends up being a closer game than expected, but I just think the Saints will win this one here. I like the Saints in this one here. They will definitely beat the Seahawks here. I think the Seahawks are going to fall out of contention for sure. They're pretty much finished here. I like the Saints in this one here. Saints over the Seahawks. And finally, key game number 4, a big one in the AFC North. And obviously a battle for first place right here between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Ravens are a 4.5-point favorite in this one here, and it wouldn't surprise me if that number goes a little bit lower. But for this purpose, it'll be 4.5. Now, Burrow went 19 of 29, 271 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception in a big win against the Lions last week. Lamar Jackson, in destroying the Chargers last week, was 19 of 27, 167 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions here. Offense is definitely going to be the key in this game here. Let's see which offense will put up points here. Because when I look at both teams' defense, the Ravens' defense is a tad better than the Bengals, but it wouldn't surprise me if this game ends up going back and forth here. This is obviously first place on the line in that AFC North division, and let's just see what the Bengals will do with their offense against a tough Ravens defense here, and the way Lamar Jackson and that offense has really gotten together here. I'm actually going to make this a quick pick here. I just think, to me, it's a big game for both these two teams, because this is first place at stake here in that division. But Baltimore is just a tad stronger here. I like the Ravens in this one here. It's going to be tough for the Bengals defense to get to Lamar Jackson, especially if he gets out of the pocket. And that is why I'm going to pick the Ravens here. I think the Ravens will beat the Bengals in this one here. Let's see if the Bengals can match up very well offense-wise, but I just think that the Ravens are a tad better than they are here. Ravens will maintain first place in that division, and they'll probably have more or less a 2-game lead over everybody else in that AFC North. So that's why I'm going to pick the Ravens here in this one here. I think the Ravens will win this one here. I like the Ravens over the Bengals. All right, everybody, that wraps up my 4 key game picks for week number 7. For all my week 7 picks, please check the description below. And I'll see you guys next week when I talk about my picks for week number 8. Until then, take care and enjoy your football weekend.